Hi everyone, my name is Liz and I am the dietitian inside of Ketogenic Center for Natural Health, and Dr. Joy has asked that I spend a few minutes speaking to all of you about the advantages of working with a registered dietitian such as myself while on a ketogenic diet, preferably before you even start a ketogenic diet. So before we get started, I just want to quickly distinguish the difference between a low carb diet and a ketogenic diet. On a low carb diet, you are actually restricting your carbs in the neighborhood of 50 to 100, maybe 120 grams per day. And you're primarily only counting carbs coming from food groups that we know are large contributors, such as starches and grains, but also your fruits and your dairy products from the perspective of milk and yogurt. On a ketogenic diet, though, you're going a little bit more drastic in reduction of carbs. Your goal is to achieve what is called ketosis so that you're actually burning your fat stores as your primary source of energy, with the goal, of course, being weight loss for most. Um, on a ketogenic diet, you are looking at carbs from all sources. So you are also considering carbs that could be coming from your non-starchy vegetables like broccoli and cauliflower and spinach and leafy greens, etc. But even nuts and seeds or their butters, so peanut butter, cashew butter, almond butter, etc. All of these carbs would have to be considered in that 20-gram allotment so that we can maximize your body's ability to get into a state of ketosis. Now, working with a dietitian at the beginning is really advantageous for many reasons. One, we want to set you up for success. So I want to make sure first you are a good fit for the ketogenic diet. So when you come into my office, we're going to talk about, your lifestyle and your challenges, your weight loss history, etc., your weight management history, so that we can make sure that this is a best fit. And then, of course, if we make that decision that it will be, we'll, of course, proceed with the ketogenic diet, or we'll proceed with the diet that makes the most sense for you and your family. But working with a dietitian, of course, is going to give you the tools and the resources that you need so that you can go home and be able to implement this lifestyle. We're going to give you the meal plans that you need. We're going to give you the recipes that you need. We're going to help you identify where in our Acadiana area you can find some of the unusual ingredients that sometimes these recipes call for. We're going to give you shopping lists. We're also going to help you identify restaurants in the community that are ketogenic friendly, and we're going to also talk about how you can make every restaurant ketogenic friendly. That support factor is real important. But more importantly, I want to go back to really working with a dietitian before you embark on this kind of diet to make sure that you are the best fit for this diet. Because frequently I do get patients who come from a ketogenic lifestyle. They achieved ketosis, they did everything right, but yet they still didn't see the weight loss results that they were hoping to achieve. And oftentimes these are patients that probably, if they had worked with a dietitian who's trained in functional nutrition to identify some potential obstacles that would impede even a very low carb diet from working, they could have prevented that. Good examples would be system imbalances. We see a lot of patients in our office that are having hormone imbalances such as thyroid, adrenal, high cortisol levels, low cortisol levels, sex hormones, estrogen dominance, just an imbalance in their gender hormones, and left unaddressed, even the best ketogenic diet will not yield the results that you're looking for. Another one is insulin resistance, which is really what most of our patients have. And even with the best ketogenic diet, even though I know that the ketogenic diet should begin to address insulin resistance, sometimes with some of our patients, they are so insulin resistant that unless you bring supplements on board to enhance that cellular communication with insulin, you're still not going to get the results that you're looking for. So a dietitian who's trained in these areas can help you identify these potential obstacles so that we can start to nourish the body and provide it with what it needs to be able to assist you in achieving the results that you're looking for. We also address potential GI issues that could be contributing to many of the imbalances in the body. So there's a host of things that we do that makes it more individualized for you and will give you the best results and the best outcome that you're looking for. Now, one of the unique things about working with our office on a ketogenic diet, or any weight loss diet for that matter, is that we also want to get a baseline measurement of what your body looks like from the perspective of body composition. So we want to know what your percent body fat looks like, what your skeletal muscle mass looks like, what your hydration status is looking like, what's your basal metabolic rate. And what we do different here to measure that is we use, and you can probably see in the background here, we use a scale that is called an InBody body composition scale, and we actually get a unique measurement of all of those different parts of your body composition so that we can get first a baseline of what your body looks like from the perspective of those different parameters. The most important baseline measurement that this scale provides me to help you best is your basal metabolic rate. The basal metabolic rate is your body's caloric needs at rest. So this is before you get up and do anything. This is just your body's basic need to be able to survive without activity. So what I frequently see on a ketogenic diet with many of my users is that oftentimes, because they achieve satiety with such great ease, that frequently they start to eat less than their body's basal metabolic rate requires. And over time, with repeated measurements on the scale, we start to see, initially we do typically see weight loss like you would expect for most who don't have obstacles that we have to overcome before. But frequently what we see also is we start to see a plateau in the weight with a decline in muscle mass and an increase in percent body fat. And this is typically going to be partnered with a lowering of your basal metabolic rate, which says to me as your practitioner that we're not getting enough calories to support your body's basic basal metabolic needs. And so in this instance, what we typically have to do is start to train and educate you on how to achieve enough calories in your diet so that you are supporting your basic needs. Because if you don't, you're going to continue to see a decline in your your metabolism, and this over time will result in you having a slower metabolism and make it more difficult for you to continue to lose weight, and then make it more difficult for you to maintain that weight loss. And so it's good to work with a dietitian throughout the whole process, because what we're going to do is teach you how to increase the calories that you need to support the ketogenic lifestyle, but without necessarily increasing the amount of food that you have to eat, because it is a very high fat diet and you're not as hungry as you typically are on a higher carb intake. So it can become very overwhelming with how much more food you might have to eat to achieve your calorie needs. So we will give you some creative ways to meet your basal metabolic needs and still, of course, support your weight loss journey. So we would love for you to come and try this scale out so that you can get that baseline, and we can properly guide you throughout the entire ketogenic process, making sure you're achieving ketosis. Make sure if you're not, what's the possible tweaks in your diet that we need to make. Sometimes we have to actually reduce the amount of protein that you're intaking and increase the fat even more. So there's a lot of different things that come into play when you're on the ketogenic diet to achieve the maximum outcome results, which of course is, for most of you, weight loss. Now, just to kind of finalize, I just want to encourage you to consider coming over here and getting this baseline assessment done before you start. And I want to mention too that for most of you, maybe not all, your insurance probably covers your visits here. Many of you have a preventive wellness benefit that you're probably unaware of, and if you give us a call, we can check your benefits, but there is a high likelihood that your visits to see the dietitian are covered 100%, even if you have not met your deductible. So I'll leave it at that, and you can let us take it from there regarding, doing the insurance benefit check. So I'm going to go ahead and close, but not before letting all of you know that next week Dr. Joy will be back, and she will be speaking to all of you about the advantages of digestive enzymes and what they are and why, especially around the holidays, you might want to come and pick up a bottle, because this is the time of the year that we may be eating foods that are a little bit off of our normal eating habits and making GI discomfort more problematic. And so she's going to give all of you the details of what is a digestive enzyme and why you might need or want to bring them on board, and how they can possibly make your holiday meal times a little more enjoyable. So you guys have a great afternoon, and I look forward to speaking to you again. Bye-bye.